Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. It's good to be back, and today we're going to be talking again about BLA Fit, which is the founder is right here, Dr. Mariam Bakhtiari, and it's all about balancing the face, taking care of yourself, and being your best self naturally. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Luca. Good morning. Happy Saturday to everybody. I'm Dr. Mariam Bakhtiari, a general dentist with over 27 years of practice in the fields of orthodontics, TMJ, and sleep apnea. And I created Bella Lip Appliance, just like Luca said, a natural enhancer for facial beauty, as well as tapping into your parasympathetic mode and relaxation of your neck and face. It's an exercising device that I created due to the fact there's more and more youngsters and us looking for invasive treatments that cost hundreds of dollars, injections, and so forth. And I wanted to create a device that could anchor around the mouth that does most of that.
Perfect.
For us.
So how did you come up with the design? That's really my first question, at least.
Yeah, so I knew that the only place that we can use for resistance would be our mouth, because there's nothing else that we can anchor around but our lips. And doing what I do for so many years, I feel like a dentist with that specialty knows more about face and neck than I believe anybody else in that field, because that's what I do for a living. And I collaborated with an aircraft engineer and a physician, and we came up with the amount of resistance that's in the resistant band. So this is a Bella Lip Appliance, and I'll talk while you're getting yours. It has a resistant bands around the arm, around the arms. The arms goes in the mouth, and that resistant was built precisely by the aircraft engineer and myself. We tried it to be able to come up with something that we can anchor around and work out with resistant our facial muscles. Our facial muscles are no different than the rest of our body. As well as being a TMJ specialist, I wanted to make sure it's something that helps TMJ instead of create jaw tension and lock jaw.
Okay, so that's a couple of things. Let's start first with the designing of just like to have more natural beauty and everything like that. So what does it exactly do? So you said there's a couple of things. I mean, I know, but go ahead and explain.
So it anchors around the lips, and 2 exercises will create a plumper lips and define jawline and lifts your cheekbones. Physically could get rid of your jowls. People that have jowls and they go through laser sculpting, cool laser sculpting, or other means, this is an inexpensive way to really tap in the muscles that are deep in your neck, the digastric muscles, and tighten them up. What was your other question?
Oh, then we were going to move on to TMJ. So
Yeah.
It was just like, all right, so you mentioned TMJ. What is exactly TMJ?
So the first thing, TMJ is when we have, right here is TMJ. Temporal is the bone of the upper jaw, the mandible is the lower jaw, and the disc in between those two is called temporomandibular joint. We have the disorder when we clench all day long and our lower jaw is pushed back and creates impingement of the neurovasculature behind the lower jaw. And that creates headaches, ear issues, balance issues, all sort of migraines and headaches that could be created by TMJ. And when we exercise the Bella Lip Appliance for beautifying yourself, you can actually tap into parasympathetic mode and also work into treating your TMJ if you're directed by somebody that's specialized. So I will put a 5-minute one-to-one training with me or one of my trained staff to be able to teach you how to exercise to be able to relieve the TMJ while you're beautifying yourself.
Perfect. So you said TMJ and then parasympathetic. What is the parasympathetic versus whatever?
So most of us know that sympathetic is fight and flight. When our central nervous system, our brain has 2 different modes of defense, reaction. One is sympathetic. Sympathetic is when you have a threat, your body feels threat, and you have a lion coming after you, Luca, and your heart starts palpitating, you're running, your mouth dries up, your eyes dilate. That's a sympathetic drive. Parasympathetic is when you relax and digest, right? So you go to the bathroom, you're sitting, reading a book, and just sitting and watching the nature, taking deep breaths. Your whole system goes to that relaxation mode. When we have TMJ, patients with TMJ, for years they're tapping to sympathetic drive, and if you give me a chance to show the picture that I always show, and it's my favorite thing to talk about, is this picture. And you can see right below, like behind the lower jaw, we've got this neurovasculature bundle that feeds the brain. When we clench and the lower jaw goes back, we're causing a threat to the brain. Brain feels like we're cutting the circulation, I'm worried, and instead of tapping and opening the jaw, it actually does the opposite, because sympathetic drive makes you clench. So you actually clench and you worsen the situation. When you do the bellow lip exercises, I train you how to exercise by moving the lower jaw forward and tapping, telling the brain, look, I pushed it forward, and now the roadmap to the brain is open. And by doing that, the brain says, I can actually sit and relax now. I'm not going to survival mode.
That's really okay. So basically, you're just opening up all the bloodways, and is there anything like opening? Because it looks like it's nerve endings in there as well.
So
is
this,
there anything else?
Yes. So this picture only shows the 2-dimension of artery. There is a vein. There is also nerve that passes in this region. In fact, there's a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. And if you and I remember, we're going to have a meeting soon, and we have a picture that we took from we should have that big.
The big picture,
the big picture, so I can show you that there's so much vasculature, neurovasculature passes in that region. When we clench and push our jaw together hard, we're pushing the lower jaw back against all that neurovasculature. Also, the tongue's attached to your lower jaw. When your jaw goes back, you're closing your airway. So there's 2 modes of the brain to panic. One is, oh my God, I'm not getting oxygen. The second thing is, I'm not getting blood supply. So it taps into sympathetic drive, and there's some of us that are been in sympathetic drive for years. And if you have clenching jaw during the day, I can assure you 3 times more at night. Mm-hmm. Because when you sleep on your back, your jaw falls further back.
Makes sense.
And now you're not even resting. You're 24 hours in sympathetic drive. And that's when those people that are agitated, you stop by the light and they honk at you because they're agitated. They're constantly in a fight and flight mode.
So I'm assuming when your jaw goes back, that's like the snoring effect, right?
Yes, the snoring, and some patients have sleep apnea.
Got you. So how does that affect how does that come to fruition in your body? Like, does it affect it? So irritability, obviously, mm-hmm. Sleep apnea, you're going to be tired. Is there anything else that really affects?
Headaches. The number one thing that most people feel is headaches, and because of the push of the lower jaw to the ear, now we've got the ear issues. Ear is your balance, and when you have balance issues, patients have vertigo, they have ringing in their ears, sometimes they get up and their room is turning around their head, and sometimes positional vertigo when they move their head to one side, then all of a sudden their room is turning. All different sort, up to all the way to movement disorder, Tourette syndrome, and we are learning more and more. Some of the our immune system is related to that.
So how is it? Is just because you always hear about like. That's okay.
Yeah,
we're getting messages right now from different people. So it sounds like everything. The reason that it's so important is because this is the only blood supply going to the brain.
Yeah.
So if you have the effects that are going to happen, it basically you have neurological. Is it damage or is it just a lot like?
Yeah,
can it be?
It could be permanent damage, but in my experience for 27 years, things are reversible. Our body is able to fix itself if we give it blood supply and oxygen. And those are the 2 elements that my husband, who is an immunologist, will tell you that we need for really good immune system. And when you're in sympathetic drive for years and years, Luca, you're not going to have a good immune system, because your immune system is going to be altered, affected, because the brain repairs itself when the body is in parasympathetic mode.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's just so. So, have you seen examples yourself, or like how have you come to this conclusion, basically, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, we treat patients in my office all the way from migraine, headaches, like we talked about, movement disorders, and I've showed you some of the videos of movement disorder patients. And when we move their lower jaw forward and just put them on special splint and move their lower jaw forward, we're getting the release. Patients feel the relief. They feel that they're back to balance again, and they can regain their life again.
It's just like fascinating, the fact that like one little simple motion is just like so vital to being able to just all these other added effects, because it just is a huge snowball effect if it just continuously happens.
Yeah.
That's really,
I think we should have the title of a YouTube thing, a simple, just what you just said.
Yeah.
A simple jaw movement. It is true. Unfortunately, a lot of us live in a fast life and we don't take care of ourselves nutritionally or emotionally at all. And with the BLA, I want you to tap into relaxation. We call it yoga for the face. So you're actually working out your facial muscles and lifting things up. But at the same time, two of the exercises, if you add the breath to it, and we're going to demo it, it actually taps into parasympathetic and moves the lower jaw forward and increase blood supply. For those patients that have migraines and headaches, we've seen that help a lot.
Yeah, let's do it then. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna have Luca demo us the main exercise, which is a vertical exercise, and it goes around the lip. And I always he's not gonna hold it, but I want the beginners who bought from Amazon, hold the tip so it doesn't tilt sideways, because our lip muscles, you'll be surprised how weak it is. We're not chewing our food, we're drinking our food more and more, and our lips and our facial muscles are having more and more atrophy, less and less bulkiness, and the rest of our body we work out. So here he's going to open his mouth wide all the way. He's going to bring the arms together and then move the lower jaw forward. Notice all this muscle tightening up in the neck. And I hope you guys can see it. And then he's going to open and breathe out. And breathe in. Good. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and then breathe out. And open all the way. Notice the arc that it has. This arc is perfectly made for you to be able to open maximum opening. So the patients that have locked jaw, they will be able to unlock themselves if they do the program the way I explained it. How did you feel?
No, it feels really nice. I have to admit, the number one thing I always notice is like you have to push your jaw out as far as you can.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to what you're talking about with like the food and how we eat nowadays, because I was just gonna ask this: why is this such a common problem that like the jaw is pushed back? Because like all these effects that happen, it seems that like almost everyone almost has it at this point.
Yes.
So why does that happen?
I think there's a bunch of research done by Weston Price and Al Fonder in 1970s where they traveled hundreds and thousands of miles to see people in different islands and different continents to see who has more cavity, who has better jaw position. What happened is their conclusion came, the more they saw people like Northwestern Islanders, people that were away from westernization, they had beautiful broad arches, non-clenching faces, 0.03% rate of caries, and then as the people that came to the town closer to westernization, packaged food, processed food, they had crowded mouth, lower jaw was pushed back, and they had a lot of skin issues, bone issues, and they came out that nutrition plays a big factor.
Really? Okay.
Now some of us in Manhattan Beach, we are all into organic, healthy, but again, we're juicing more. Because our lifestyle is pretty fast. We have 20 things planned in a day. We're actually not enjoying our lives too much. So for those of us that are juicing and grabbing our coffee and grabbing our shake to be able to at least stay alive, even though with organic products, our mouth and our teeth, each teeth is used for different function. We're supposed to chew, we're supposed to have more raw food, but we're not. We don't have the time to sit and do 30 chewing for each bite it goes in your mouth. We're actually swallowing our food. So that's why we have so much digestion issue. That's why 1 minute a day, 30 seconds on each direction will not only work out those muscles that we're not working out, but also by moving that jaw forward, you're actually tapping to parasympathetic mode. Now add the breath to it, it takes you to a whole different level
I
of
definitely agree with
relaxation.
that, especially if it's like your first time and your jaw is pushed back. You're gonna notice a big difference in the sense just how your brain works, because you're gonna be getting a lot of blood right into your head. So you might notice just improve really everything, like your eyesight, your hearing, and all that. Like
Everything.
immediate really effect of
Talking
that.
about hearing, now we do see patients in my practice that they have years of TMJ, and because of the compression of the lower jaw to the ear bone, they have ringing and they have hearing loss. And what we do with them, I'm so glad you brought it. When we move the lower jaw forward with orthotic, that cost them a couple of $1,000s. Patients came back and said that their hearings improved. So if you do, imagine doing the bellow lip appliance twice or 3 times a day, and move the lower jaw forward and hold it and open wide, you're not only relaxing your face so that it doesn't need to be clenched, but also opening the roadmap. But at the same time, you're taking the lower jaw forward and letting the ear be alone. So we're letting the ear to heal the inflammation around the ear bone to calm down.
Yeah, that's just so interesting to me, the fact that we can actually do that. It's just that, I mean, I want to hear, like, yeah, I know you don't need to say a name, but like a personal story that you have that you like always kind of think of when you hear about, when you're talking about this, like an example. Do you have one of those?
Of a patient, you
Yeah.
mean? Yes, I have. For me, the biggest surprise was when I watched Brandon Stack when I was younger, and I was in one of his movies, one of his seminars, and it was in, I want to say Milwaukee, and if I'm not wrong, I don't remember, it was a long time ago, in 1990s,
Yeah.
80s, late 80s. And when I watched him talk and showed his Tourette's patient's transformation from complete wild tics to nothing.
Like what you think of, like with the
tapping,
banging,
banging, cussing.
shouting, yeah.
And then I saw them after he put the orthotic and moved the lower jaw forward. They were quiet, calm. He transformed their life. I was shocked. I thought, oh my God, TMJ can be such an impact in our overall body. Who would ever thought about that? And when I talked to one of my patients, my friends, Dr. Rita Tenenbaum, who's a very prominent pediatrician in Hermosa Beach now, before she was in Redondo Beach, and I told her this is what I do, and she started referring me patients like that. And I started doing some work in my practice, and the staff, and we sometimes, I remember the video we watched, I invited 2 physicians here just to see, because people don't believe. We think a lot of our neurologic issues is completely neurologic issues.
Right.
It just came from the sky,
Right, or
and the kid
genetics,
starts to have tics.
Mhm.
It's not true. A lot of our neurologic issues arrive from a structural problem that creates the neurologic issue. If you have a blockage here, for years and years, you're blocked here, of course the brain's gonna have atrophy. Now, I know it's a neurologic issue, but where did the base
Where's the
came
actual,
from?
yeah, like first principles.
And what we're
where's the
doing
roots of
is
it?
opening that roadmap, letting the body just heal itself, and you've seen the transformation on the videos that
Yeah,
are
it really
on-
is insane. Just to see like how her tics went from here, her shoulder was completely off, the plane of her shoulders were diagonal basically, and then the moment you put in her device, it goes completely like parallel to the ground. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Unbelievable what TMJ can do to us, and how simple exercise can really relieve a lot of the TMJ symptoms without spending thousands of dollars of invasive treatments and money.
Perfect. I think that's a great way to stop. So thank you again.